Hi, my name is Delmarshae Walker. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing great today. In the past, when the franchise for Housewives of Atlanta came, and then the different Love and Hip Hop shows came after that, I used to watch them because, it was like Black people, and it was exciting to see these Black shows on, like Black reality shows coming on. So I was excited to start watching them. Then, me and my mom, we would, watch them. Sometimes we watch them together. Sometimes we'd talk on the phone about what was going on, going on the shows. And then it got to the point where I stopped watching them because it was like just so much fighting going on. And it was like no unity. It was like everyone getting in the fight with everyone to the point that it was like causing me stress. And I'm the type of person, I haven't even watched the news, I would say in like the last 7 years. And the only time I really seen the news within those 7 years, if I was at my mom's house and she had the news on, and then I would just sit there and look at it. But as far as just watching the news, the only thing I worried about was when it was hurricane season, if there was a hurricane coming. If it wasn't a hurricane coming, I really didn't care what was going on the news. And so, because the news always stressed me out because it was always talking about negativity. And then watching those shows, that's all I seen in those shows was negativity. You'll see men and women fighting or going back and forth arguing. You'll see women going back and forth arguing. And it got to the point that it was just so frustrating and so irritating that I just stopped watching them all together. I didn't even want to hear what was going on. Sometimes my mom would be trying to tell me, oh, this happened with this person, this going on. I don't even want to hear it. I'm like, because it just don't make any sense to me. Because if you don't like a person, why are you still around the person? And if you're around that person and they're causing you stress, they're causing you to be upset, then it's pointless. Why am I going to watch that? That's not anything motivating. That's not anything uplifting or anything like that. And during that time, the type of shows I started watching was like the reality shows was Swamp People and Duck Dynasty. And the reason I watched those shows, because there was more, regardless of the shows that was coming on, Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta Housewives, I'm not really talking about the people themselves because I don't know those people. I didn't follow them on any of their social platforms. So I really didn't know what was going on in their personal life, in their real life, based on social media. The only thing I'm talking about is the show itself. Both, the Love and Hip Hop and Atlanta Housewives, and then Duck Dynasty and Swamp People. I'm just basically talking about the overall show, not the individual. And I'm saying it because a lot of times people don't want to feel like, oh, you're hating on this person, or you don't like this person, or you're trying to stop this person from getting the bag, or you're just trying to put negativity out there. So it's not about any individual person. It's just how the show portrayed each group that I'm talking about. So when I watched Swamp People, how they portrayed those people, because they went around catching alligators during alligator season. It would be families out there on the boat, and sometimes they would get into it, but it was a point, it was like they're going back and forth with each other because either safety reasons or they're trying to tag out so they can finish that season and make money. And then even sometimes you would see women that was on the boat, they always treated, because it was mostly just men out there, but then sometimes it would be women out there, they still also treated the women like they was women, and they treated them with respect. So just to be arguing, just to argue with no real point, they didn't do that. And then sometimes when you watch this show, even though this person out there, it might be a person that has two boats out, like a father and son on the boat, and then he had two other sons that was on another boat. And then it was another guy that one of his workers didn't come, so he was on the boat by himself. So he asked the father, could he send one of his sons to help him. He didn't say, well, no, that's gonna make, that's gonna slow me down for the season. He was like, okay, no problem, because he was like, we look out for each other here. We're family. This is not a competition. And they would show them helping out each other. And then even with Dynasty, they would be out there, shooting ducks, working in the warehouse and different things like that. And they would have, go back and forth every once in a while. But once again, it wasn't drama filled. And it was something that ended at that time. Before the show was over, whatever they was arguing about or disagreeing about was over. And they always ended the show with the whole family sitting around a dinner table, holding hands, praying. But then when you look at Love and Hip Hop, Love and Hip Hop or Atlanta Housewives, it was never that. It was never, oh, we're going to look out for each other. We're going to help each other out. Or you need help doing this or you need help doing that. It was always drama. There was always fighting. And then you have to think about young girls are watching these shows and they're thinking this is how women act. Because sometimes you might not have a positive role model in your house. I know a lot of times they always say, well, your role model should be your mother or sometimes you don't have that and you look outside for a positive image. And so when you're looking at these shows that are very popular shows and you see this is how grown women with money is acting, you think, okay, this is how I'm supposed to act. And that's why you see a lot of young black girls not knowing how to resolve issues, and they don't even know how to talk it out to say, okay, this is the problem I have, let's find out how to solve it. Because that show ended with a lot of people not liking each other, even after the show ended, or even after they wasn't on the show anymore. And the same thing with Love and Hip Hop, the different shows on there, or Basketball Wives. It was always drama. Somebody was always fighting, breaking glass, throwing tables and everything like that. And so what I'm talking about, like I said, it's not individual people that I'm talking about, but it's just a way when it comes to black people with money on TV and it's reality, which is supposed to represent real life, is negative. When it was these white families, even the ones in the swamp, and like a lot of times people look at people in the swamp as being ignorant, this and that, but they was out there helping each other. They was out there looking out for each other. They was out there if a person called them and say, hey, I got a gator out here, where it's not supposed to be, or I need help putting up a fence. They would show them going out there helping each other. It wasn't drama filled. It was just, we're out here to make money. We're out here to come together. Whoever out here need help, we're going to look out for each other. We have each other back out here in the swamp. And then with the Dynasty family, they're saying, we come together at the end of the day, whatever disagreement we have, whatever problem we have, when we sit at that dinner table, we're still family. All that other stuff, we're putting it to the side. Y'all don't care if you were just arguing with your brother or your uncle or whoever. Y'all can hold hands at this table, bow your head, and pray to God before you start eating dinner. And and that's the image they portrayed. So if I was sitting there, regardless of what color I am, looking at that, because I'm a different nationality. I never really interacted with black people, and I never interacted with white people. And I'm looking from the outside looking in. In my mind, I'm thinking, God, that's all black people do is argue, fight, fuss. And then I'm thinking, look at white people, say, well, they help each other. They come together, they look after each other. So when you come into contact with different people, you're going to look at how they treat each other, and then your attitude is going to reflect how you've seen them treat each other. And so when you see white people treating each other good, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to treat them nice because I see that's how they treat each other. When I see black people treating each other foul, being sneaky, being manipulated, going behind each other back, well, I'm going to do the same thing to them. That's how that's normal for them. It's not going to be a problem. So it goes back to that concept of you teach people how to treat you. And if this is the image we're putting I understand that that image don't represent all black people, and I understand that image don't represent all white people. But sometimes the contact with different nationalities is based on what you either see on TV or social media. And so depending on what's been pushed out there, that's the image that's sticking in people's mind. And so if you don't respect your own color, why should I? If you don't protect and look after your own kind, why should I? And so that's the image we put out there. So we need to kind of get together. I know every black person ain't gonna do this. Some people are just hardcore stuck in their ways. But as a whole, we need to start teaching people how to teach, we need to start teaching people how to treat us, how we want to be treated. And it's not just accepting everything that we have is more or less we accepted it from someone else. They gave us our freedom. We accepted that. They gave us the right to sit at a table and eat. We accepted that. And then all this other stuff, it's like they're just throwing bones at us and we're accepting it. We need to start demanding respect. We need to start demanding to be treated better. We need to start demanding and letting people know that we're not what you think we are. We're more than that. We're not just people sit around arguing with each other, fighting with each other. We're better than that. And so until we change as a group, as a people, and start demanding and showing a different light, shining a different light on who we are as a group, as a people, the world is not going to do that. We're sitting back waiting for the world to change in order to get what we feel we deserve, instead of saying, no, we're demanding it. But first, we're going to have to demand that with ourselves. Because I say, you can't expect someone to respect you if you don't respect yourself. You can't expect someone to love you if you don't love yourself. If I'm sitting there stabbing my sister in the back, you think the next person gonna be like, well, yeah, that's who I want to be my friend? They're gonna be like, hell no, she's stabbing her sister in the back. Whether it's my physical sister or someone I'm just saying is my sister because we're of the same ethnicity, because we're both black. So, figurative or literally, if I'm doing that to my own kind, who really gonna trust me for one, and who really gonna respect me for two? Because I know if I'm out there looking at someone doing somebody else dirty, I'm not gonna trust that person. I'm not really gonna get in business with them. And if I do get in business with them, it's not gonna be serious. I'm gonna be saying, well, okay, let me see what I can get out of them before I walk away from them, because they're someone I can't be trusted based on how they're treating their own people. And that's what we need to that's why I said we need to get rid of that plantation, that slavery mentality, and stop feeling like we're separate. It's the mentality of the field, the ones that's out there in the fields, and the one who's out there in the house. The lighter skin thought it was better because they're working in the house and they're closer to freedom. While the ones out there in the field, they're working day and night in the hot sun and they've been treated like they're less than. We either got to come together or figure something else out. But the world isn't going to change until we change. It's just like in the Bible. The change starts with us. You can't expect anyone else to do anything for you that you're not willing to do for yourself. It's like, help me. What are you doing to help yourself? If I see what you're doing, then I can come and say, okay, let me help you. This is what you need advice for. Then I can help you. But if you're sitting there and you can't figure some things out, you can't figure respect out, why you expect someone else to respect you? If you're doing everybody else dirty because all you want is the bag, the most important thing to you is getting the bag. I don't care who I have to step on. I don't care who I have to crawl over. I don't care who I have to stab in the back to get it. And then when somebody else do that to you, it's a problem. They're treating you based on how you're showing them to treat you. They're saying, okay, this is how they do. This is who they are. So this is how I'm going to treat them. Why should I give them more than what they're showing they deserve? So that's why I say we have to demand it. We have to start treating ourselves as individuals. We have to start having respect for ourselves as individuals. within household, community, and so forth and so on, and then start demanding, no, we're not going to settle for this. And we have to all, I understand we're not going to all be on the same accord, but in general, the majority, we're going to have to all be on the same accord. And whoever want to stay in the gutter, just let them stay in the gutter. I hate to sound like that, but you can't save someone who don't want to be saved. That's like if you that's like somebody in the pool drowning, and you jump in to try to drown them. Either they're gonna listen to you and come along and allow you to save them, or they're gonna fight against you. And if they're fighting you, both of y'all are gonna drown, or you're gonna release them and let them drown. That's how it is. And I understand some people, they like the situation they're in. They have no desire to change the situation they're in. Whatever the case may be, that's on them. You can only help someone who want the help. So anyone who wants to move forward, anyone who wants to progress, we need to do that. That is something that we need to do together. We need to build together. We need to grow together, and we need to demand our respect. And that's not saying, a lot of times when Black people say, hey, look at me, this is what I want, they feel like we're up to something. We're trying to take over. We're not trying to take over. We're not really worried about what other races are doing. The only thing we're trying to do is get ourselves together, which doesn't affect anyone else. If I'm in my household and I'm trying to clean my house, that has nothing to do with the neighbor's house. That has nothing to do with the neighbor across the street. That has nothing to do with someone in a different state. I'm taking care of my house. I'm making sure my house is okay. My house is taken care of. So when we start doing that as Black people, every other race start getting upset. Every other race is like, oh, what they're up to. We're not up to anything. The only thing we're trying to do is save our young people. What we're trying to do is teach them something better, and to carry themselves better, to act better, and to be better people. So it's like every time we try to make a move, a lot of times, especially white race, they kind of get what's going on. Nothing's going on. Like I said, we're just trying to put our young people in better position than what we have had. We're trying to make sure they're okay. We're trying to make sure they grow to be productive and functional people in society. We're trying to teach them that it's very important to respect yourself. It's very important to learn how to navigate this world. It's very important to learn conflict resolution. Killing is not the answer. Fighting is not the answer. Going back and forth with a person over social media because they said something that hurt your feelings, and you're just about to lose and you're all upset. That's not the answer. And so that's the only thing that we really need to do. We need to come together as people. And stop putting so much, it's like with Dave Chappelle when he walked away from the Dave Chappelle show and he walked away from $50 million. Everyone was focused on the $50 million, but no one was focused on him as an individual. What would make a person walk away from $50 million? No one cared to really, well, some people cared to know, but more people was like, oh, he must be crazy to walk away. Why everybody gotta be crazy because they turned down money? I thought all money wasn't good money. So maybe it's something he knew that you didn't know that he may not have wanted to say at that time. And the same thing with Kanye. And the same thing with other people that find themselves in situations and they pull away from. Maybe it's something something that they know that you don't know. Like they say, all money ain't good money. And sometimes people are not willing to do any and everything for money. So I just basically wanted to say that at some point we have to start teaching people how to treat us, and we have to start with ourselves. We have to start with each other first. So I hope everyone have a great day. Peace.